Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to completely demystify a topic that pretty much every single working professional has experienced, but honestly, very few truly understand. We're talking about performance management. We'll break down exactly how organizations track, measure, and encourage our work, and how this whole field is rapidly evolving from a dreaded yearly event into something way more dynamic. Okay, let's dive right into this.
So, have you ever waited a whole year to find out you were doing something wrong? Yeah. Think about the pain and anxiety of that traditional annual performance review. You sit down in a room, and suddenly your manager basically transforms from a team leader into a judge, handing down a verdict on a project you completed, 11 months ago? It's incredibly frustrating, it's anxiety inducing, and honestly, it's just a terrible way to actually improve how we work. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with beyond the annual review, then move to the 6-step continuous cycle. After that, we'll look at management versus periodic appraisal, tackle KPIs and modern methods, and finally, explore HR in the digital era. Let's get moving.
All right, section 1, beyond the annual review, because it is definitely time to shatter this misconception that performance management is just a once-a-year judgment day. To really anchor our understanding here, look at this quote from HR expert Michael Armstrong. He defines performance management as a systematic process for improving organizational performance by developing the performance of individuals and teams. Now, notice the emphasis there. It's not merely about measuring past results or, catching mistakes. It's actively about developing people. It's a strategic tool designed to pull everyone forward together. So formally speaking, we can define it as a continuous and systematic process of planning, monitoring, evaluating, and improving employee performance to hit organizational goals. Now, the absolute magic word here is continuous. Simply handing out assignments and walking away, that just doesn't cut it anymore. For an organization to truly thrive, employees have to know exactly what's expected of them, and they need regular, ongoing guidance to actually improve their productivity and crush those big objectives. That brings us to section 2. The 6-step continuous cycle.
Because if this isn't a one-time event, what exactly does the process look like in action?
Well, imagine an employee's journey through this repeating loop. It all kicks off with planning, where managers and employees sit down and jointly set clear goals. Then comes execution, which is the employee actually doing the work, relying on their motivation and resources. All the while, step 3, monitoring, is happening in the background. Managers are actively observing progress. Then we hit step 4, coaching and feedback, which is where managers step in to act as continuous coaches on the sidelines. Eventually, there is a formal review, which immediately feeds right into development planning for new training or career growth. And then the whole cycle repeats. I actually want to pause on step 4 of that cycle for a second, the coaching and feedback stage. Because what's really interesting here is how this draws a massive line in the sand between a great coaching manager and a poor one. Good feedback can't just be a vague, hey, do better next time. It's got to be timely, happening near the actual event, not 6 months down the line. It has to be specific, objective, respectful, and entirely development-oriented. This is exactly how you build an employee's knowledge and confidence, rather than just tearing them down. Moving on to section 3, management versus periodic appraisal. We need to definitively separate the broad, continuous concept of management from the specific, isolated event of an appraisal. People mix these up all the time, but they are very different animals. When you stack them up side by side, the differences are super stark. Performance management is continuous and ongoing. Its focus is improvement, the purpose is development, and its scope is broad. A performance appraisal, on the flip side, is periodic, usually just annual or half-yearly. Its focus is assessment, its purpose is purely measurement, and its scope is relatively narrow. So think of an appraisal as merely one periodic tool tucked inside the much broader continuous management process. It's a part of the system. It is absolutely not a substitute for the whole shebang. Let's jump into section 4, KPIs and modern methods. So how do organizations actually measure this performance without just falling into the trap of subjective bias? Well, those traditional methods, simple rating scales or confidential reports locked behind closed doors, those are quickly fading away. Organizations are shifting to modern methods now. Take management by objectives, or MBO, where an employee's personal goals are directly tied to the company's big picture targets. Or consider 360-degree feedback, which is a huge game changer, where an employee is evaluated not just by their boss, but by peers, subordinates, and maybe even customers. These modern methods focus heavily on well-rounded employee development and actual organizational improvement, rather than just zooming in on isolated results.
Now, to actually fuel these modern methods, we need key performance indicators, or KPIs. These are the objective metrics that evaluate progress, and they range from productivity and quality of work to customer satisfaction, error rates, and even innovation. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. These KPIs absolutely must be objective, realistic, and highly measurable. If expectations are murky, you run straight into issues like personal bias or unfairness. Having crystal clear, measurable KPIs is especially crucial today to maintain fairness in remote work environments where, managers can't physically see their team working at their desks every day.
Which perfectly tees up Section 5, HR in the digital era. We literally cannot talk about the evolution of performance management without looking at how technology is just completely rewriting the rules here.
Gone are the days of dusty paper files crammed into a filing cabinet. Technology is supercharging HR. We now have AI-assisted performance analytics and predictive tools that can spot trends way before they become actual problems. We're looking at real-time performance dashboards and digital goal tracking. Instead of scheduling a formal, stiff meeting for a simple course correction, teams are just using continuous feedback applications on their phones. These digital tools are basically replacing subjective guesswork, and they're making evaluations significantly more transparent, highly accurate, and completely data-driven. And all of this data brings us to one absolutely crucial HR insight. Leading organizations are completely abandoning once-a-year appraisals in favor of continuous performance conversations. This right here is your big takeaway. Employees today expect regular coaching and developmental support. Waiting 12 months to hand down a single annual score just doesn't cut it anymore. Continuous feedback improves learning, it skyrockets engagement, and ultimately it drives the overall performance of the entire organization. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a question to reflect on regarding your own career. Is your workplace stuck in the past with an annual judge handing down verdicts once a year? Or are they coaching you continuously for the future? Really understanding this dynamic is the first step in taking control of your own professional growth. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into performance management.